In the sun-baked hills of Kenya's Rift Valley, where acacia trees clawed at the endless sky, little Amina huddled under her threadbare blanket. Orphaned at 5 when a flash flood swallowed her parents' Masai Manyata, she was taken in by distant relatives in a dusty village near Nairobi. But nights were her enemy. The darkness wasn't empty. It breathed. Every evening, as the sun bled red into the horizon, painting the savannah gold, Amina felt it, a shadow slinking behind her. Not the playful shade of a baobab tree, but something alive, formless, pressing close. It started small, a chill on her neck, footsteps echoing hers on the red dirt path. "Mumu," the elders whispered, blaming spirits of the lost. But Amina knew better. It hungered. One moonless night, wind howling like hyenas, she bolted awake. Her tiny hut of mud and thatch creaked, the fire's embers long dead. There it was, the shadow, taller now, stretching from the doorway, like ink spilling from a broken pot. Heart pounding, she clutched her mother's beaded necklace, the only heirloom left, and whispered the prayer her father taught. "Ngai, protector of the lost, shield me." But the shadow didn't attack. It waited, pulsing faintly as if listening. Amina squeezed her eyes shut, tears carving tracks in the dust on her cheeks. Memories flooded, her father's strong arms lifting her to see giraffes silhouetted against dawn, her mother's laughter weaving songs of the stars. Gone, all gone. Why her? Why this curse? By morning, the village stirred with the bleat of goats and women's voices, calling children to chores. Amina said nothing, burying her fear like buried encra, Masai milk gourds. But the shadow lingered, a faint outline at her heels as she fetched water from the seasonal river. Villagers noticed her flinches, her wide eyes darting back. "The girl carries ghosts," old Mama Naserian muttered, crossing herself with a cowrie shell. Days blurred into weeks. Amina grew watchful, her small frame wiry from dodging chores to spy on the shadow. It mirrored her steps through thorn bushes, hid when warriors passed with their rungus spears, vanished under the midday blaze. Was it foe or phantom? Hunger gnawed deeper than fear. Relatives barely shared ugali porridge, their own mouths full from lean harvests. Then one twilight, as hyraxes scampered up kopjes, the shadow stirred boldly. A lion's roar split the air from the nearby Masai Mara. Panic gripped the village. Predators prowled closer, with droughts driving them bold. Amina froze by the boma fence. The shadow swelled, blocking the path, forcing her toward the safety of lights. For the first time, dread twisted into doubt. Had it protected her? Amina's doubt bloomed like a desert rose under the relentless Kenyan sun. That lion's roar still echoed in her bones as she crouched by the boma, the shadow retreating into the flickering torchlight. Villagers rushed past, spears raised, voices sharp with Shona warnings. "Stay inside, child," Mama Naserian barked, her wrinkled face etched with worry. But Amina lingered, eyes tracing the darkness where the shadow had stood. Guardian or jailer? Days turned brutal. Drought cracked the earth near Nairobi's fringes, turning the riverbed to powder. Goats grew lean, milk dried up, and whispers of famine spread like wildfire. Amina's relatives grew harsher, rationing ugali to scraps. "Work harder, ghost girl," her uncle grumbled, shoving a heavy water jerrycan into her arms. 8 now, she trudged miles to the shrinking stream, the shadow trailing like a faithful dog, silent, unseen by others. One scorching afternoon, thorns snagged her shuka as she balanced the load homeward. Thirst clawed her throat, mirages danced ahead. Then rustling, jackals, eyes gleaming yellow from the scrub. They circled, ribs stark, emboldened by hunger. Amina stumbled, water spilling red onto dust. Panic surged. She was alone, prey. The shadow erupted. It surged forward, a swirling mass of midnight, growling low like thunder over the Rift Valley. Jackals yelped, scattering into bushes, tails low. Amina gasped, heart hammering. The shadow hovered, then shrank back to her heels, as if ashamed of its fury. Trembling, she whispered, "Who? What are you?" No answer came, but safety did. She reached the village unscathed, villagers none the wiser. That night, under a sky thick with stars, Orion's belt, a warrior's spear, Amina tested it. She slipped from her hut, creeping toward the dark edges where hyenas laughed. The shadow followed, urgent now, nudging her back like a mother's hand. Curiosity warred with fear. In Maasai lore, shadows were enkare, souls tied to the living. Was this her parents' spirit, bound by love or tragedy? She dreamed of them, father's deep voice chanting Enkigwena blessings, mother's hands braiding her hair with red ochre. Waking sweat-soaked, Amina resolved to learn. At dawn she sought Mama Naserian, the village Liban, seer of secrets. Huddled in her smoky hut amid herbs and cowrie rattles, the elder eyed Amina sharply. "The dark fears you carry invite darker things," she intoned, smudging sage smoke. "But shadows with purpose? Rare. Seek the Enkang elder at the Mara edge. He reads the unseen." Amina's resolve hardened. As warriors prepared a cattle raid, she bartered chores for a ride on a matatu truck rumbling toward Masai Mara. The shadow clung, invisible passenger. Bumps jarred her bones, dust choked the air. Halfway, bandits, desperate drought raiders, blocked the road, rungus clubs raised, demanding fuel and food. Driver halted, pleading. Amina shrank in the back, pulse racing. The shadow billowed, cold wind whipping through the vehicle. Bandits froze, muttering of Maji Yashatani, devil's water. They fled into thorns, unnerved. The truck rolled on. Amina stared at her hands, steady now. Protection, undeniable. But why her? What price lingered in the dark? As the Mara's golden plains unfolded, a deeper roar called not lion but destiny. The Masai Mara's vast plains stretched like an endless sea of gold under the equatorial sun. Zebras grazing in black and white waves. Amina stepped off the matatu, legs shaky from the jolting ride, the air thick with dust and the musk of wildlife. The shadow pooled at her feet, quivering as if sensing the sacred ground. Ahead loomed the Enkang, a circle of thorn-branch bomas sheltering lowing cattle and red-shawled warriors. This was the edge of the wild, where men became morans. Lions met their match. She approached timidly, clutching her mother's necklace like a talisman. Children stared, pointing at the ghost girl from the city. An elder emerged from the central Manyata, Papa Olonana, Laibon of the Ilkeljek subgroup, his face a map of wrinkles, earlobes stretched long by brass earrings. His eyes, sharp as a simi blade, pierced her. "Child of the lost flood," he rasped, voice like dry river stones. "Ngai sends you. Sit." Around a fire pit, embers glowing orange, he brewed Nkumi tea from roots and honey. Amina poured her tale. The flood's roar swallowing her world, nights haunted by the breathing dark, the lion's diversion. Jackals scattered, bandits fled. The shadow stirred visibly now, even to Olonana's gaze, a smoky silhouette flickering in daylight. The elder nodded, unperturbed. "Shadows are not curses, but Enkare Napuk, twin souls. Yours is no demon. It is your Olduyo, guardian from the ancestors." He traced symbols in the ash, a child encircled by lion tracks. Maasai lore spoke of such bonds, forged in tragedy. Amina's parents, he divined through cowrie casts, had bargained with Enkai Narok, the black god of rain, in their final moments. Their spirits wove a protector from the veil, tethered to her life force. "But why fear?" Amina whispered, tears hot. "It hides me from life." Olonana's laugh rumbled deep. "Fear blinds the brave. Test it. Tonight, under the milkway, walk the lion path alone." Dusk fell swift, stars igniting like scattered Nkaji beads. Warriors chanted around the fire, spears clashing in rhythm. Amina slipped away, heart thundering, toward the kopje where prides prowled. The savannah whispered secrets, crickets pulsing, distant elephant trumpets. Then eyes, green fire in the grass. A lioness, scarred and massive, stalked forward, cubs trailing. Amina froze, urine warming her legs. The shadow exploded into form, a colossal Maasai warrior apparition, spear raised, shield of hide emblazoned with her parents' clan marks. It bellowed, a sound shaking the earth, charging the pride. The lioness reared, then retreated, tail lashing, her family vanishing into night. Amina collapsed, sobbing. The shadow reverted, gentle now, brushing her cheek like cool mist. Comfort, not chill. Dawn broke with Olonana waiting. See? Your shadow is love armored in dark, but a greater threat looms. Drought spirits stir, poisoning wells. Your bond must grow, or it consumes you both. He gifted her a rungu club carved from olive wood, etched with protection runes. As Amina boarded the return matatu, planes blurring, the shadow felt lighter. Yet Olonana's warning echoed. Consumption. What hungered in the bond? Back in the village, famine bit harder. Crops withered, relatives eyed her warily. A cry pierced the air. Mama Naserian, collapsing by the dry river. Poisoned water. The trials had just begun. Mama Naserian's collapse shattered the village like brittle clay under a moran's heel. Amina raced to her side by the river's ghost, once a lifeline, now a ribbon of sludge laced with unseen venom. The elder convulsed, lips foaming blue, eyes rolling white as cowrie shells. Juju! Dark water, she gasped, before silence claimed her. Villagers gathered, murmuring of Nkuran curses, but Amina saw truth. The shadow quivered violently, straining against an invisible tether, as if the poison clawed at it too. Famine's grip tightened around Nairobi's fringes. Goats dropped dead in the dust, their bells silent. Children wailed with bellies swollen like overripe fruit. Amina's uncle turned feral, hoarding millet, his eyes darting to her necklace. "Sell it, girl. Buy medicine," he snarled, but she clutched it tighter, the last thread to her parents, pulsing warm now with the shadow's nearness. Desperation birthed resolve. Remembering Olonana's words, Amina confronted the shadow at midnight. In her hut, fireflies dancing like lost stars, she held out her palm. "Show me," she demanded, voice steady despite trembling knees. The shadow coalesced, hesitant, then flowed into visions, her parents' final stand against the flood. Father binding his spirit with a blood oath to Enkai, mother weaving shadow from river mist. Protect her. Always, they vowed, voices echoing like wind through acacias. But cracks formed, their bond frayed by drought spirits, twisting protection into poison. Tears carved rivers down Amina's dust-caked face. Together, then. Dawn found her slipping away, rungu in hand, toward rumored poisoned springs upstream, the savannah baked merciless. Vultures wheeled overhead like omens. Thorns tore her shuka, but the shadow shielded, cooling her fevered skin. At the springs, hidden in a ravine of red rock, decay reigned. Water bubbled black, fish floating belly up, frogs shriveled husks. A figure hunched there. Kalo outcast Laban from a rival Enkang, hurling bones and herbs into the flow, his eyes gleamed mad, scarred face twisted. "The black god demands balance," he hissed. "Drought takes, I give back, lives for rain." Amina stepped forward, shadow surging tall. "This poison's kin, undo it." Kylo laughed, flinging a handful of cursed ash. It burned her skin, agony lancing deep. The shadow roared, wrapping her in ebony armor, charging. Kylo summoned his own darkness, writhing serpents of smoke. But Amina's guardian shattered them, spear form piercing his defenses. He fled into the scrub, cursing, but not before Amina smashed his ritual gourd. Water surged clearer, purification rippling outward. Exhausted, she staggered home, shadow dimmed, flickering weakly. Villagers drank renewed streams, hope flickered like embers, yet victory soured. Uncle discovered her necklace glowing faintly, whispers of its power spreading. "Witch child," he spat, rallying kin. That night, torches ringed her hut. The shadow stirred, ready, but Amina's heart fractured. Protection or prison, betrayal brewed closer than beasts. As flames licked the thatch, a child's scream pierced the chaos. From within, torches crackled like angry spirits around Amina's crumbling hut, casting jagged shadows that danced with her own guardian. The child's scream sliced through the night, little Jelani, her cousin, trapped inside as flames devoured the thatch roof. Smoke billowed thick, choking the air with acrid bitterness, the scent of burning dung and desperation. Uncle's voice boomed over the chaos. "Witch, your shadow brings death. We end it now." Kin clutched rungus and spears, faces twisted in fear-fueled rage, the drought's madness turning family to foes. Amina lunged forward, shadow exploding into a protective dome of swirling darkness. Heat singed her skin, but it held cool as river mist. "Jelani!" she cried, diving through the inferno. Beams groaned overhead. Embers rained like fiery stars. The boy huddled in the corner, eyes wide with terror, coughing violently. The shadow extended tendrils, wrapping him gently, shielding from falling debris. Amina scooped him up, necklace pulsing hot against her chest, a beacon guiding them out. They burst into the night, shadow propelling them past the mob. Uncle swung his club. It glanced off the ebony barrier, splintering. "Demon!" he roared. But doubt flickered in his eyes as Jelani clung to Amina, safe. Villagers hesitated, murmurs rippling. She saved him. The ghost protects. The shadows swelled menacingly, forcing the crowd back, then shrank, exhausted, flickering like a dying candle. Dawn painted the savannah in reluctant gold. Exiled now, Amina and Jelani fled toward the city lights of Nairobi. The shadow, a weary companion trailing in the dust. Jelani, barely 6, peppered her with questions. "Is it Mama's spirit? Does it eat bad men?" Amina smiled faintly, braiding his hair with ochre from her pouch. "It's love, little warrior. Fierce love." But inwardly cracks widened. The bond drained her. Nights brought fever, dreams of her parents fading, their faces gaunt, whispering warnings. Nairobi's sprawl engulfed them. Matatus honking, street vendors hawking nyama choma, skyscrapers piercing the haze. They sought refuge in Kibera slum, a labyrinth of tin roofs and open sewers. Amina scavenged, trading stories for Ugali, her tales of the shadow drawing wary fascination. Jelani thrived, playing football with rag balls, but the guardian grew restless, stirring unbidden during petty thefts, scaring pickpockets away, earning her a reputation as shade girl. One rainy evening, thunder rumbling like Moran drums, a slick stranger approached, Mzee Juma, a corrupt water baron profiting from the drought. His eyes gleamed with greed at whispers of her power. "Join me, child. Control the shadows. Control the wells. Riches for your kin." Temptation clawed. Amina saw visions of full bellies, safe bomas. But the shadow recoiled, hissing cold warnings. That night, assassins came, Juma's men, knives flashing in moonlight. The shadow fought valiantly, forms of spear-wielding ancestors clashing in silence. One blade nicked Amina's arm, blood mingling with rain. Jelani screamed. The guardian faltered, bond straining. They escaped into alleys, but weakness settled deep. In a hidden shack, Amina confronted the truth. Protection came at a cost, her life force fueling it, parents' spirits consuming to endure. As fever gripped her, visions returned. Olonana's prophecy. Grow the bond, or it consumes. Jelani's tears fell on her brow. Survival demanded alliance, not fear. But Juma's shadow loomed larger, Nairobi's underbelly hiding greater darkness. Nairobi pulsed like a living beast under relentless rains, flooding Kibera's paths into muddy rivers that swallowed sandals and hope. Amina lay delirious in their shack, shadow coiling protectively around her and Jelani, its chill easing her fever like a Laban's herbs. Visions swirled, parents' flood death replayed, their oath-binding spirits to shadow, love's chain growing heavier with each save. Jelani brewed weak tea from scavenged leaves, his small hands steady. "Fight, Amina. You're our Moran." Strength returned in fragments. Amina rose, arm bandaged with rags, necklace humming. Juma's offer echoed, power for profit. But betrayal's taste lingered from her uncle. Trust was a luxury. They ventured deeper into the city's veins, past Uhuru Park's defiant statues, toward the Baron's lair in Westland's glittering towers. Whispers led them. Juma poisoned rural wells to sell purified water at extortionate prices, drought his empire's foundation. Disguised in borrowed shukas, they infiltrated a market stall Juma controlled. Amina's shadow cloaked them, invisible amid haggling crowds smelling of spices and sweat. Eavesdropping revealed plots, more toxins upstream, villages doomed, rage ignited. That dusk, as Matatus choked traffic, Amina struck, shadow tendrils sabotaging Juma's tanker trucks, engines choking on spectral oil. Retaliation swift, goons swarmed Kybera, torches hunting Shade Girl. Jelani hid in sewers while Amina led them on a chase through tin mazes, shadow leaping rooftops like a leopard. One thug cornered her on a precarious ledge. The Guardian manifested fully, a towering Maasai spectre, spear impaling illusions of fear. The man fled screaming of Maji Ashetani, but victory cracked the bond further. Shadow dimmed post-battle, Amina collapsing with nosebleeds. Visions of parents pleading, "Release Usman or perish." Jelani found her, eyes fierce. "We go home, to Mara. Olonana will know." Journey back tested limits, hitching on lorries rumbling through Athi plains, evading Juma's spies. En route, bandits ambushed at a roadside boma, rifles barking. Shadow shielded the truck, bullets dissolving into mist, but exertion drained Amina to whispers. Jelani's songs, Maasai lullabies, bolstered her, their sibling bond weaving strength. Mara's plains welcomed like old kin. Olonana awaited at the Nkang, Cowrie's rattling prophecy. The serpent rises, Juma allies with Kylo, the poison Laibon. Their dark ritual threatens Enkai's balance. He taught Amina Enkiguena rites, dances under stars, blood offerings from her palm, merging wills with shadow. It grew. Parents' faces clearer, voices coaching. "Command us, daughter." Empowered, Amina scouted upstream springs. Kylo and Juma chanted there, black altar steaming. Confrontation brewed. As warriors gathered for aid, Shadow whispered a secret. True power lay in sacrifice. Severing the bond meant freedom, but at loss of protection. Night fell. Lions roaring challenges. Jelani clutched her hand. Choice loomed, fight tethered or embrace solitude. Stars wheeled above the rift valley like Enkai's scattered beads, illuminating the Nkang's firelit circle. Olonana led the right, warriors in full regalia, red shukas billowing, spears etched with lion scars. Amina stood central, naked to the waist per ancient custom, body painted in white clay symbols of protection. Jelani drummed rhythmically on a stretched goatskin, his beats syncing her heartbeat. The shadow writhed eagerly, hungry for union. Chants rose. Enkai Narok, black god bind the lost. Olonana sliced her palm. Blood dripped into a gourd, mingling with milk and honey. Amina drank, visions exploding. Parents alive in spirit form, embracing her across veils. "We are one," they intoned. Shadow flooded her veins, cool power surging. No longer foe, it was armor, weapon, kin. Dawn patrol revealed the threat. Juma's convoy rumbled toward the springs, Kylo atop, serpentine shadows coiling from his staff. Amina's senses sharpened, scenting their dark magic like rot on wind. She led Morans in ambush, shadow scouts mapping positions. Battle erupted at the ravine. Rifles cracked against spectral shields, Kylo's serpents clashing with Maasai phantoms. Amina charged core. Jelani guarded rear with slingstones. Juma sneered from his jeep. "Fool girl, shadows fade." But she commanded hers fully, tendrils ensnaring vehicles, crushing metal like baobab fruit. Kylo hurled curses, black water erupting. Amina's guardian drank it, purifying into healing mist. Melee intensified. Uncle appeared among Juma's mercenaries. Drought desperation recruited him. His rungu swung. Shadow parried, but familial pain pierced deeper. "Forgive," Amina pleaded. He faltered, spear dropping as recognition dawned. Allies turned tide. Kylo fled wounded, Juma bound. Interrogation spilled truths. Their ritual aimed to summon drought demon, eternal empire from misery. Amina shattered the altar, shadow consuming residual evil. Rain fell sudden, heavy sheets blessing parched earth, rivers swelling. Euphoria short-lived. Bond's surge overwhelmed, parents' spirits overwhelmed her mind, visions constant, body weakening. Olenana warned, "Peak power demands release. Keep us, lose yourself." Jelani begged her to stay strong. Village celebrated, feasts of roasted goat under rainbows. Uncle knelt repentance, gifting beads. Yet Amina wandered copiers alone, shadow mirroring turmoil. Sacrifice called, Siva for survival, or embrace consumption for ultimate protection. Lightning cracked horizon. Kylo returned, final ritual brewing. Destiny's roar echoed. Kylo's final stand brewed in thunder-racked night. Winds howling ancestral fury across Mara plains. Amina felt it, shadow pulsing alarm, parents' voices urgent. He summons the void. End it, or all falls. Jelani armed with tiny spear, Olenana's blessing on brow. Moran's flanked, but this war personal. Trek to sacred Ngorongoro-like crater, lightning illuminating twisted altar where Kylo chanted, void portal yawning black. Juma escaped chains, joined fray, greed blinding. Demons poured, shadow serpents devouring light. Amina's guardian met them, epic clash of ebony titans shaking earth. Moran's speared manifestations, Jelani's stones felled minions. Kylo targeted her. Your bond breaks first. Curse lashed, severing strands. Parents' faces flickered, fading. Pain lanced. Amina screamed, collapsing. Visions, floods truth. Parents didn't bind shadow. Her infant fear birthed it subconsciously, manifesting from grief, amplified by law. No curse, but her resilience armored in dark. Realization dawned, control it, don't consume. Rising, she commanded, merge, not devour. Shadow coalesced fully, parents' forms embracing her essence, transforming fear to light. Radiance exploded, purifying void, banishing demons. Kylo shrieked as serpents turned on him, Juma fleeing into abyss. Silence fell, dawn breaking golden. Bond evolved, shadow now subtle ally, visible only to her, light infused. Parents whispered farewell, free now, live brave. Tears mixed joy, grief honored not chained. Village thrived, rains greened savannah, wells pure, unity restored. Amina, 9 now, trained as Laban apprentice. Jelani her shadow, literal brother. Uncle rebuilt Boma, necklace enshrined, years blurred. Adult Amina walked plains fearless, guardian a soft presence, saving wanderers, guiding reins. Fear's child became hope's warrior. In twilight, she told Jelani, darkness follows to keep safe, embrace it. Fade to stars, endless cycle. Ready to dive into a world where passion meets the mystical? Here, African legends come alive, secrets unfold, and every love story carries a touch of the supernatural. In this channel, you'll journey through enchanted forests, ancient kingdoms, and powerful spiritual realms, where every choice can change fate itself. If you crave emotion, mystery, and romance that transcends the ordinary, you're exactly where you belong. Subscribe now, turn on notifications, and step into a universe where magic shapes destiny. And love is stronger than anything.